Like, my favorite open table reservation is 5 p.m. because you can get in anywhere. Get home by 7. That's my dream.
Right. I was in bed by 9:30 last night. Woo!
That's fantastic. So that is truly, like, 9:30 is the perfect time to go to bed in my book.
Yeah.
That's sad to most people.
It's no wonder Ross Matthews likes Palm Springs so much. They go to bed at like 4.
Yeah.
I know Ross. Okay.
All day is an early bird special.
That's right. Okay.
Jesse, I just need a quick level from you, Jesse.
Okay, level. Hello. Today we're talking to Brian Balthazar. Woo!
Super Jenna, please.
That's my grandfather's name, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Balthazar.
Really?
Yeah.
First name or last name? Oh,
His first name. He was German.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
But we called him Walter. How do you get Walter from Balthazar is beyond me, but...
That's so random. I love it, though.
That strikes me as something some little kid would have trouble saying Balthazar, and it just became Walter, and it stuck.
Right.
Anyway.
Right.
I think it had to do with, like, immigrating over here. You know, when immigrants came over, they like to change their names?
Yeah.
So they were easier to pronounce? I think that's why.
Okay, Brian.
Thank you both for having me on, by the way. This is fun.
Oh, of course.
I just need a level from Brian. We're good to go, guys.
Woohoo!
We're recording on all platforms, ready when you are.
Okay.
Did you say you need a level from me? This is my level.
Nope,
Here you go.
Get on my level, ho. Get on my level.
I needed a level from you, but then you spoke, so we're all good.
And so, Brian, obviously this is not live, so if we ask anything or anything comes up that you're not comfortable with, we'll edit it out. But, you know.
Other than that, everything
pretty
flies on
PG,
this.
yeah.
Everything flies on this podcast.
Okay, great. Including my dog, which just joined the
Perfect. Cute. We love
one of
dogs.
them.
I wish you guys could see him.
I wish we had our chihuahuas here, too.
I know. They're with their dad this weekend. It's fine.
Their other dad.
Yeah, their other dad. Okay.
We're ready?
Ready? Are you recording?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, our guest today could basically be my brother from another mother because we look like we have the same hair, the same jawline, the same career, only Brian made the correct decision to work in the States and not Canada. So, you know, here I am telling you. Yeah. Anyway, it's fine. Brian Balthazar is a superstar TV personality and executive producer. If you have cable, you've probably seen him on any number of shows as a pop culture pundit, journalist, entertainment expert, and lifestyle guru. Quite the resume. Brian's also responsible for launching the 4th hour of the Today Show with Kathy Lee Gifford and Hoda Kotb, which he regularly appears on. You can also see Brian elsewhere on NBC, CNN, HLN, and my personal favorite, and the reason I asked him to be on our podcast, The Wendy Williams Show! I know I've barely scratched the surface, Brian, but thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. That's an incredible introduction. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I could have gone on. I had to edit it down because you do a lot. You do a lot. But before we get into your career, I have to ask you how your night was because this morning I saw you were tweeting about nightmares. Did you have one last night?
Well, I've been watching you.
Oh, Jesus! Shots fired!
No, the show, you silly.
See,
did you notice that he wasn't creeped out by the fact that a stranger could have potentially been watching him all day?
Right.
We're not strangers. We're Twitter friends. It's fine.
But
it was more that I caused nightmares than that I was watching it. It was more that it resulted in nightmares.
Are you on season 2?
Yes. And I'm compelled, and I finally finished it last night. And by the way, this is Princeton that's bobbing in and out of the...
Aw, so cute.
He doesn't care about no stinking TV shows or podcasts. He's just like, rub my belly. Like that's what matters.
Do it.
Jesse's kind of the same too.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So You is a great show, is it not?
It is. It's dark. And what's so crazy about it is that you find yourself rooting for the killer. Like you find yourself cheering him on. Women on Twitter are like tweeting how much they love him and he's like the perfect boyfriend. So there's a lot of alarming aspects to the show, both on and off the screen.
We don't want to give away the ending because this second season is completely different from the first and it has twists and turns and there's a lot of new characters and stuff. But I was going to ask you this question way later on, but since you brought you up, have you ever had a stalker or ever had to like deal with one?
Whoa.
You know, it's a nice rite of passage. You feel like you've arrived.
Yes. I want one.
But I did actually. This is weird. There was a guy I used to, as you said, I used to work on the Today Show, and every morning, when we first launched Kathy Lee and Hoda, we did the whole show from the plaza every morning because we wanted to have a studio audience. Well, we launched in like February or April, and it was like 30 degrees. It was crazy. But I was out there every morning, and I noticed, and the Today Show has fans out on the plaza every morning.
Yeah.
But then I noticed one that kept showing up, and you know, you talk to them, you want to like warm the crowd up, and then he kept coming back, and then he got my email and started sending, and because it's harmless at first, and then he started sending me really alarming emails and photographs, not sexual photographs, but graphic photographs. And then then I like turned into being scared.
Now wait a minute, stop everything. You said graphic photographs but not sexual. What were they?
Violent?
He started sending photographs of, apparently he had been beat up badly and hospitalized. And he started sending me pictures of this, and not recently, like it was a year or two prior, but he started sending me pictures of him in various states of just really bad shape. But not knowing that at first was really alarming, like really crazy photo. I mean, they were gory photographs.
That's gross.
And he was CCing President Bush on some of the emails.
Yeah.
Ooh, that kind of sounds like another Netflix show, Don't Fuck with Cats.
Right. Yeah, right. So that's a more grim, that's a grim kind of I've been stalked. It's not like a fun stalking story, but is there such a thing as a fun stalking story? I don't know.
No.
But yes.
No, there's not. Definitely not.
Maybe if it ends in
Jesse
romance,
thinks
who knows?
It's fun.
I don't know.
One that ends in romance? Well, the interesting thing is it's stalking. And like if you're single and someone like shows up outside your office with flowers, if you're in love with that person, it's romantic. If you're not, it's kind of stalky.
Yeah, right.
It's creepy. It's that borderline between what's cute and what's super creepy.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Beggars can't be choosers, Brian. I don't know what to tell you. Speaking of the Today Show, you just did a segment with the Property Brothers.
I did.
Which one's cuter in real life?
They both look the same to me. They really. One is slightly different looking, but I've known them for so long that I don't think of them in that. I don't think of them in that way. So I just like do not attach any sexual like. You didn't ask about sexual, but I don't attach any of that like. You're so cute, handsome to them. I'm like, oh, these guys are like relatives. You know what I mean? It would be like me saying, which your relatives is cuter. I wouldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I could do it.
Good. Do you have a favorite Property Brother?
No, I can't tell them apart either. That's why I thought I would ask, because I'm like, maybe it'll help me distinguish the two, because I really can't tell.
I like the one that works with tools, because that's like, manly and like.
He's the more serious one, eh?
Yeah, and I have a lot of things around my house that I need to have fixed. So I just feel like he'd be more useful. So if you have two that look identical, go with the one that's more useful.
Right, usefulness is sexy, right?
Yeah. Okay, and another thing I saw you just did was drive a Tesla, or you were a passenger in a Tesla. I don't know if you drive a Tesla. You don't really drive them, do you? They drive you. Isn't that how it works?
Well, yeah, I was with a friend who owns a Tesla. I certainly can't afford a Tesla, but I did not know that there are factory settings that you can adjust. Like one is called romance. Like the Tesla has a big screen in the center, in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And you hit the screen that says romance, and it turns on the seat warmers, and then the screen turns into a crackling fire. Like that is kind of romantic.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, but there's another setting that can make it sound like a fart.
Right. There's a whoopee cushion setting too. So when you use the turn signal, which by the way, you use the turn signal a lot, and it like puts out long, very like graphic fart noises the whole time.
Yeah, they were wet. They were gross.
Downtown Philadelphia. I was driving through downtown Philadelphia the other day, not riding, and it was just fart after fart. It was fart city. And I could not, I was like a 10-year-old. I do kind of have the like sense of humor of a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah, so do we. It's okay.
So like the fart sounds were like killing me.
Only a man like Elon Musk would create a vehicle that has a romance setting and a fart setting.
I know. It appeals to all the senses, really.
Right, I guess so.
So you're in Philadelphia right now, eh?
Well, I'm now in Hoboken, New Jersey, where I live. And then I do have a little cottage in Pennsylvania. Up
Pennsylvania, that's right.
But I thought I was going to be there, but I'm now here because I have lots of... I'm actually making cocktails for Food Network now as well.
Hello.
Not like in the office, but like for the Food Network kitchen app. So I'm testing cocktails all day.
Oh, that's not too shabby.
How do you get this job? That's what I want to know. Usually we're drinking wine during this, very similar to Kathy Lee and Hoda.
Yeah.
However, it's early.
It is, but the Today Show, the Kathy Lee and Hoda hour, that was at 10 a.m., so you're actually a little late.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, what time is it where you are?
We're on the same time as you. Same time as you.
Okay, okay, so yeah, you're late. You're running late.
I guess so.
I know, I'm kind of ashamed now.
Well, we're trying to go to the gym after this, and we're trying to be good. 2020, Brian, it's a whole new decade.
New year, new you. New year, new
That's
you.
right. Okay, let's get to business. What is it like working for Wendy Williams? Brian, I am obsessed with Wendy, as I'm sure you are.
I love Wendy.
Seems like she puts up with no crap though behind the scenes. I want to know what she like planning for the segments.
I will say when she plans for her Hot Topics is a good portion of the show. Sometimes it's like the first entire half hour.
Yeah.
And some days she does a whole day of Hot Topics. So she has an amazing team of people that go over the topics with her before folks like me get there. And then she kind of like closes the door and really gets read in. She really knows her stuff and she wants to know her stuff. So my interaction with her is usually before and after breaks and during like an event, if I go to an event.
Okay.
So she's very focused during the show. So it's also very loud behind the scenes, in between the breaks. You know how you hear the music before you go in and out of the show?
Yeah.
There's a DJ there, and it's like as loud and as thumping as any nightclub, so that your adrenaline is rushing. Like people are screaming and the music is playing so loud. So my interactions with Wendy before and after a segment are so brief, and we'll like get one little bit of gossip in about anything. And sometimes it's fun because it's something she's not going to say on the show or I won't say on the show. So those are the moments that I really love when you're like, oh my God, let's talk about Mariah for 30 seconds. And then we start the segment. And
she loves talking about Mariah. They're kind of more similar than different.
I do love any kind of bit of Mariah gossip. Have you been watching all of the video, like leading up to All I Want for Christmas Is You new video? Like she was posting all these, not Wendy, but Mariah was posting all these vintage clips of her singing. And I'm like, what happened to that Mariah? Like the one that seemed like a normal gal, just like.
She discovered she has an imbalance, and now she's a little bit more balanced. That was the diva Mariah from back in the day, and then remember, she came out and said she was bipolar.
Bipolar, yeah.
So now we've got grown-up Mariah.
I guess.
I feel like we're somewhere in the middle because I feel like
her and Britney Spears, huh?
Oh gosh,
times have changed.
Yeah. We're covering the gamut today. I love it. We're covering everything.
We are. But you've been on Wendy a lot. I feel like that's how I got to know you for like years. I've watched Wendy since the 6-week sneak peek, and you started appearing not long after that. So clearly,
I come on like a hummingbird. I'm there briefly and then leave.
Yeah.
I'm like in and out. But I think I've been on about 40 times.
Wow.
But it's been over the course of probably like 6 or 8 years. I remember that test period too. And the thing that's kind of exciting for me is at the time watching the test period, I never in a million years would have imagined that I would get to go on the show. Like I still am, like I have a sense of humor of a 10-year-old, but I also have that like pinch myself nature of a 10-year-old where I'm like, I never would have imagined in a million years that I would be able to do the things that I'm doing. And I'm so grateful.
It is amazing. I mean, you're everywhere.
Well, and you know what though, in your defense too, it's really hard work because you're dealing with personalities that are big personalities. They like things a certain way and when they want it. So you have to make a lot of adjustments, I'm sure.
Thank you. I think the most challenging part is when you go on a show. Wow, the sun is blasting me. I hope I'm not. Are you still there?
You look good. Now you're like flawless. Not that you have any.
It was so cloudy.
You went from Jersey to Jamaica.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. But the tricky part is like when you go on a show for the first time, you don't know exactly what they want. Like they can't tell you exactly what they want. They can give you an idea. And every show is a little different. So like Wendy will be a lot more silly and fun. Today's show will want to be sometimes used to be more serious, at least the fourth hour, then got more playful and fun. But you don't know. The truth is the hardest part is you never know if it's the last time you'll be on.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you screw up, they're just, or, you know, it's no ill intent of them, but like, they'll just be like, well, let's try something new. They're never going to say, hey, that was it. Goodbye. You know? So,
this business, we know, Brian. We used to have a morning show here in Ottawa, and we got unceremoniously fired for no reason. Our ratings were good. Everything was fine. So sometimes you're right. You don't know.
Yeah, that's why it's important, I think, like you said, to treat every single show that you do and every project you get to work on as potentially your last one. You got to put everything into it, your heart and soul. Yeah. And that's what makes it so entertaining.
Yeah, it is. And I try and be grateful. I'm going to move into the shade. You won't even know, but you're going to see me move into the shade a little bit.
Look, we're getting a tour of his house.
I know. Seriously, I'm like, don't show the part that I didn't vacuum. Hold on.
I like those pillows.
Thank you. We have a little plaid environment happening over there.
Mask for mask.
That's better. Oh.
So last Wendy question, do you get to choose the topics you bring on the show, or do they give them to you?
So the tricky part with any of the shows is, you know, they almost always have a block of the show that's happening before I go on. So I will work with the producer first and send them 10 or 20 ideas for show discussion points. And they will also be working to find some. And then in the morning or usually the day before, they will determine what topics Wendy or Kathy Lee and Hoda or Hoda and Jenna will talk about in the first act, and what's then kind of like left for me or would be a good thing for me to talk about with them. And there are a lot of factors that go into that. Sometimes it's like, well, this one she is excited about talking about alone, but this one is a fun like banter back and forth and share your different opinions about. So it happens kind of collectively. It's a group thing.
Process of elimination.
Yeah.
Suzanne seems like a real good time. I want to party with Suzanne.
Suzanne is fun, and her husband is the sweetest. They're both a great pair. Her husband is the stage manager.
Yes. What's his name again? Doug or
Brandon.
Brandon. I just love Wendy creates this little, what does she call it? Her little soapbox, her little jewelry box, because she has these little players, these characters. You got Norman, Suzanne, Brandon. Yeah. It's like a little family. Brian appears once in a while. Yeah. You know, it's a great show.
I'm like the neighbor Larry from Three's Company that just comes in once in a while.
But better looking.
Yes.
Thank you. I was just watching Three's Company for the first time in a long time, just before we decided to talk, and like, wow.
I know.
What a mess. What a mess.
So let's go all the way back to the beginning. You were a theater kid like me. You started in the theater.
Yes. What did you start in?
Theater. I was a fat, chubby theater kid. No sports for me. It was all theater, and I studied it in college too, theater performance. It's just that there's no money in theater, so you have to branch out into media.
Yeah. Did you have a certain show that was like your first like breakout into it show?
Oh my God, no, I don't. I played Ursula the Sea Witch in The Little Mermaid once.
You did?
I did when I was a little kid.
That must have been incredible fun.
It was big balloon boobs. I could bring out my inner drag queen before anybody knew what gay was. You know, it was. Good.
How long ago was that? Like 5 years ago? What was it?
That was a long time ago. No, it was a long time ago. I was like 10 or 12 at like drama camp. But it's just been part of my life forever. So when I read that about you, I thought it was really interesting.
It was fun. I was a really shy kid, and then I was in Pennsylvania in the Poconos, and a regional production of Oliver was being cast, and I was 11 and blonde, so I had a really good chance of getting that part. Like, if you're 11 years old and blonde, you are almost a lock if you have any like ability to stand up in front of people and sing. And then I learned to like actually have courage when I was in it, and like then I loved it, and I could never look back. Of course, I had to look back because I haven't been in anything in a long time.
If it wasn't for using theater to break out of your shell and get over your shyness, do you think you would be where you are now?
I probably would have used booze instead. So
that's not a good thing.
No, actually, you're right. No, I think if it weren't for that and a desire to like really a live audience, that's why I love Wendy so much, because her audience tells you exactly when they think you're funny or not, and that can be thrilling and unnerving when they don't laugh at something that I say, which is somewhat frequently. But no, most of the time they are pretty responsive, and I feel like I have a connection when I'm with them, which I love. And when Kathy Lee and Hoda briefly had the studio audience at NBC, they had a studio audience during the Olympics. It was my favorite time. I just love the people laughing and clapping. And what does that say about me? Does that say I'm needy? Maybe.
Well, are you a middle child? That's what I blame it on. Didn't get enough love in my
childhood.
Are
you?
Yeah.
I'm the youngest. Oh,
you're used to getting all the attention. That's why you want to keep it up.
Maybe. Who knows?
But
I don't know.
you're used to them not laughing once in a while. Well, I shouldn't say that, but like I know you've dabbled in stand up once in a while too, and you get that.
Yes.
You
Yes,
know?
I did stand up for a while, and I didn't bomb really ever, but there was one time I did try something different. I'm like, well, I won't do that again. But for the most part, I've had a good experience doing stand up. It's hard to get into and really like keep getting the gigs, and it's a tough
it's a grind.
business.
But what I find about stand up is you can do the same 10-minute set and kill one night, and the next night they hate you, and so it's really it's a tough thing because you can't figure out what works and what doesn't.
And I actually found that in New York, neighborhood to neighborhood, what they thought was funny was different. Like on the Lower East Side, I would find that like they really were like into the like poop humor. I mean, I don't do poop and fart jokes, but like on the Upper East or Upper West, they were not. They were a little bit liked the more smarter, like insightful kind of stories, and then other ones were like, yeah, I just belched in the Lower East Side, and that was good. That was fine.
So what do you consider your big break into the business? Because I imagine you've always had an interest in it and, you know, the theater thing. But what was the thing that finally put you on the map, like actually making money?
I'm still waiting for my big break.
Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? Don't give me that crap.
No, I do. I mean, no, I'm still. The truth is like it takes. I think it really does take someone to put you on something where you're on truly regularly for you to break through, like where you have consistent appearances. And so there's plenty of stuff that I go on as a guest and don't get paid. So it's not like I'm living. Yeah. So
well, you have a Wikipedia, girl. That's halfway there at least.
No, but thank you. Yes, it's nice to have a Wikipedia page and then find something that you didn't put on it.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? I do know what you mean, though, and I think that it doesn't matter how big of a star you are, there's always this pressure to keep rising and keep growing, and how do I maintain this? And so, you know, as people who are far below your level, we're here to tell you that you've made it, sweetheart. But I know you want to keep going, and you should.
I'm flattered, and I don't sell yourself short. There's I feel like we're all fighting the same endurance marathon that we are.
True.
But the truth is I also have a full-time job that I do. Like, well, it's not really a full-time job, but I do production behind the scenes. When I left Kathy Lee and Hoda, I went to HGTV to direct shows for them. And that's like a far more stable job, is being behind the scenes sometimes than being on. So I still try and work. I work on a lot of HGTV shows as an executive producer or a creative consultant, which is really how we pay for all the plaid in this department.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer being in front of the camera, or do you prefer being behind it?
I already know the answer.
I get much more of a rush and thrill and enjoy being on camera, but I really do love producing. And I do love the stability of it. But if I could have a full-time job on camera, I would love that. That would be really a great thing. But I could never let go behind the scenes, because I think one helps the other so much. Right. As you guys, I'm sure, like you're producing yourselves right now as we speak.
Well, we got John for that, but yeah.
But it is nice to have both skills, and also as I get a little older, I like to have the behind the scenes production experience, because I can only pull this back so far.
Well, I don't know about that. Look at your old pal Joan Rivers. She made it work.
That's true.
But she had a lot pulled back, if you know what I mean.
I'm not opposed to that either.
I went to Joan Rivers' house for Thanksgiving and Passover once.
Oh, my God. I want your life.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it was, now I will say the first time we went was for Thanksgiving, and someone had canceled and I didn't care. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm not coming. Can't explain why. I love you. Bye. Like, I was like, it was the day before
and
Thanksgiving.
It was at the apartment? The apartment?
Oh, yeah. Yes, her Upper East Side apartment on 72nd Street, I think it was, or 62nd.
Wow.
And she would get a table. She has a place that was a big, Brownstone doesn't do it justice because it was a big, tall building, but her top floor was hers, and that was where what would have originally been the ballroom of this mansion was her living room and sitting room. So it was big, with ceilings that are like, I mean, these, I'm sure she like 15.
We've seen the videos and pictures. It's the most amazing apartment I've ever seen.
Yeah. And so she had a table she would have tables brought in, a long table with a flower arrangement that would go the whole length of the table. And she would have like 30 or 40 people at that table. Like, you know, and you'd sit and it would be like a who's who. And one time I sat
Oh, I know the name. Who is
She used to be on Laugh-In, and she would always go, woo!
Oh, her. Yes.
My apologies to your audio technician right now, but
yeah, you should see
she
his
was
face.
on Laugh-In. Yeah, and
yes.
and
We just looked at the
Barla
picture.
Merman went one year, and it was really it was spectacular.
And what was the food like?
Well, the Passover meal was okay because Passover meals aren't like necessarily all delicious. Like they can some elements of them are, and then for this one was just okay. The Thanksgiving, I mean, I don't remember the food because I was too busy looking around. I was just like, trying not to look starstruck. That's my whole like thing. Try not to look starstruck.
Did you like partake in conversations? Because again, I would be just like you and just sit there with my mouth open and be like, I am in like the same room with these human beings. It's insane. Yeah,
I mean, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember some in particular. I was always starstruck, but I will say one of my abilities is not to get like tongue-tied around. There aren't many celebrities that I would get tongue-tied around. I think Oprah for sure is one of them. I try to think like who would I be nervous around, and the Obamas. Like the Obamas and Oprah, I would be like, oh shoot, sorry, that was nice. Sorry, my camera fell. I'm back.
How did you get that invite? That must have been like a really exciting day when she invited you, because she meets a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, you did take her on blind dates in 2006. I mean, if there's any way to really get to know someone. I know.
Oh my God, the research.
I was waiting a long time to drop that one on you. But you know, like, is that when you guys started getting close?
You nailed it. That's exactly when it was. So I did this story. She had put herself on Match.com or Yahoo Personals. It was before there were apps. It was the internet, and she had put a personal ad up for herself, and she didn't put that it was Joan. She was just her in sunglasses, so obviously her. And she is also a PR genius, and people figured it out. So I was a producer at the Today Show, and we decided to do a story, and I ordered an extra camera from the crew department and put myself in the story with her so I could interview her. I kind of like did a covert move. And then I called them at the Today Show. I'm like, this needs another person. Like, she needs to be having a conversation to be fun and funny. And so, and that's what I did. And that was how I got on the Today Show for the first time.
That's a very Joan Rivers move.
It is. It was. And so, and then I produced other things with her. Oh, I have such another great Joan Rivers story.
Okay.
So, so then we did more pieces. I didn't always insert myself into them, but one time I was in Spokane, Washington with my partner. We were in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is right near Spokane. And we were getting ready. We were just on vacation. And the next week we were going to be doing a segment with Joan. And Joan calls me up and she goes, I'm in this town, Spokane, Washington. I'm being a terrible I'm like, I'm in Spokane. And she's like, come to the casino, and I've got free dinner passes and see the show, and bring your mother. And so we went, and we were sitting at dinner in a very open area, and this guy comes up to her while we're sitting there, and he goes, Joan, my wife loves you. She watches you on QVC. She loves your specials. And she took the bracelet off of her wrist and gave it to him to give to his wife. And you know that he's going to tell that story, and she's going to tell that story forever. So he was like completely blown away. And then she told us, I wear extra jewelry so I can give it to fans.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That is her thing. Wendy talks about that too. Her brooch that Joan gave her the last appearance on the show.
Isn't that so sweet?
I wish.
That's just so sweet.
I wish I got to meet her. You know, the closest I ever got was I auditioned several times for the Shopping Channel here in Canada, and they have a whole room where she used to hang out, the Joan Rivers room. And Lauren Sidney let me go explore it. You know Lauren Sidney, right, from the Today Show?
Yeah.
So she let me go explore this Joan Rivers room, but it was right after she died, and it's like my greatest regret is never meeting Joan because I love her so much.
Should have answered that personal.
I should have, if only.
You were pretty young back then, though.
Yeah.
But maybe she would have liked that. I don't know.
She might have liked it. I think she would have been up for it.
I play for another team. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sure you would have made an exception.
I would have tried. What do you think of Lauren Sidney? A lot of people, I shouldn't say that, don't remember her, but she was a big deal in the 80s on CNN.
Oh,
you know Lauren Sidney? Yeah.
I remember her, too, yeah.
Oh,
completely.
She's the best.
I don't
Okay.
have any anecdotes or anything though, but I
No.
do. Yeah, what a legendary career.
And she's just a behind the scenes superstar now. We love her.
Yeah.
But do you don't still work at The View, right? That was
No,
that was a short-lived thing.
It was a very short. It was a very short journey. I left one job, then went to another job, and I took the co-executive producer position at The View in 2014 or 2015. I had taken a break from daytime television production for a while, and I thought I would love it. And I didn't love it. And I loved a lot of the people, though. And I'm still friends with a lot of people.
Talk about a show to get your feet wet with television production like that. You must have needed body armor to handle those ladies.
Yeah, well, it was a chaotic year, the year I was there. It was the year after Barbara Walters had left. I met her like
Everything went to shit when Bobwa left.
It was a tough transitional year, and it was written a lot about in that movie. In that book, Ladies Who Punch.
Oh, I read it. Yeah.
And so I knew that like I was that was the year I said to myself, if it doesn't make you happy, don't do it. And so and we don't always have that luxury. Let's be honest. Like sometimes sometimes we have to do something that we don't love because there's nothing waiting for you. But so I was kind of vigilant about finding something else. And I will say that I have great stories from it. And I got to go to Whoopi Goldberg's Christmas party, which is the most epic Christmas party in the world I've ever been to.
Really?
And she hires Santa, the Santa from the Radio City Christmas show pulls up in a sleigh at the house, and it's a who's who. Felicia Rashad was there. Julianne, one of the woman who was on the show, Weeds, was there. I mean, you look around and there are just people around. You're like, someone is like hogging the appetizer table, and it's a celebrity. It's just so. It was trippy.
Cool. Hey, Alec, can you pass me the cocktail shrimp?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, like who's hogging the cocktail sauce? Oh, it's Felicia Rashad. Okay,
well,
like,
geez.
Take it.
But speaking of only doing things you love, then why the hell is Whoopi still on that show? Because she seems miserable.
Well, I will say the one thing about that show is the hours are great if you're a host, and the money is good if you're a host. And not that it wasn't good for me; it was good. But I think if you're, I do wish we could see more of Whoopi in movies and TV. And I know she's shooting, I think, the Stephen King one now, which is why she has the gray dreads is for a role. But but I will say also, Whoopi takes care of a lot of people. She takes care of a lot of her friends and family financially, I believe, in her family. So she's there, and it's a very, having a talk show is a very stable job that's really nice to have and lucrative. So if you're a caring nurturer like Whoopi is, I can understand why that's appealing. Because movie making, 1 minute you're making $1 million or $2 million, and then you don't have another gig for a while. So it was really good for her.
Steady.
And I think, yeah.
I like her on the show. You can tell she's a grump.
Well, none of them seem to really like that much of each other at the end of the day. They get paid to argue, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
It is. Well, I will say, at least as opposed to like a Housewives reality show, these people are fighting over issues, and trying to have a dialogue. Whereas I guess a primetime, this is not that much different than a primetime soap. They've cast it very well with people who are very different.
Yeah, but with everything that's happened live on that show, or, when someone explodes, like Elizabeth Hasselbeck and takes her mic off and leaves. And
it's Megan these days.
That's got to be really hard for someone in a production role to try to manage.
Yeah, some people are really good at it. And honestly, those are the things that get people talking. And some people are like, oh, this is great TV. I just want everybody to get along.
Right. You're like more Ellen show than The View.
Yeah.
Maybe so. I think it was like just a perfect storm of things and I have a great relationship with ABC still, and they put on a great show. And I don't think I was the right fit.
Right.
And they were nice enough to let me leave because, you don't really, usually in those jobs, you have a contract, and they were nice about it.
Okay, that's good. Speaking of managing celebrities, who is the most dramatic one you've ever had to deal with? Do you have a dramatic one? Like a Mariah Diva or anything?
I went around the world with Tom Cruise once. And this was right. Yeah. And it was right after the the couch jumping incident. And so he was doing War of the Worlds, and they were doing a world tour. And he had left a really great PR firm, PMK, in favor of using his sister as a manager. And I will just say, I just felt it sounded on paper like it was going to be an amazing time, and I did not have an amazing time. It was also the month that he proposed to Katie. So I remember seeing the look on Katie's face the morning of the proposal, because he announced it to us at a train station in Paris. And then we got on a train that he had chartered, and she looked like dazed and confused, and oh my God, what have I done? Because it looked like she was completely overwhelmed.
Did his Scientology ever leak into that tour with you? Is that why it was kind of odd?
I think it was odd because it felt completely choreographed. It felt like every move of it was performance. And I never felt, except for 2 times during the trip. And I was there was a lot of people that followed the story, but I was part of a small group of us, because we were on a jet behind his private jet. Like, there were only 3 reporters and 2 producers that really got to be really on top of him. And there were only 2 times in several days that I felt like, oh, that's what he's like when nobody's watching. I never felt like that any other time. And those were times he didn't see us there.
Right.
Interesting.
Really?
You know, he's an Ottawa native. He's from our hometown.
Is he?
Yeah, he was born here. And here's a fun fact. My mom used to be friends with his sister because they went to the same high school, Sir Robert Borden, here in Ottawa. And then they moved away.
Really?
Yeah.
What's her name, Lynn?
I think.
What is her name?
I don't know her name. Lynn. Sounds right, Lynn. I don't know. But my mom used to babysit Tom Cruise when he was like 3 years old before they moved to the States.
That's a trip. See,
know.
we are related.
See?
We are.
Somehow
I got smuggled across the Canadian border at an early age.
Don't worry, nobody's smuggling into Canada.
Yeah.
We just let
Oh,
you
you know
in.
what? I think now they are. Now they are.
Escape.
Not if you're a blonde white male. Come on into Canada.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a really weird, and you don't have to say the celebrity if you don't want to, but a very bizarre request?
Ooh.
Because, you know, some of them have you hear about these riders.
Alpha-Getty with only the J's.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if they're true or it's just, you know, TMZ gossip kind of stuff.
The odd request. So one time, I'm trying to remember, one was like, set the temperature at 69. And I was like, okay, sure. And but usually the food ones were, the one time I was booking a group and they in their rider, it said, please make sure we have only the finest in cuisine in our green room and dressing room, including the following. So it was like, make sure it is finely prepared, curated by an excellent chef, and then underneath it said jalapeno poppers, mozzarella sticks. Like it was like, okay. Like I'm like, let me call up Le Cirque and get those jalapeno poppers.
Yeah, what do you do? How would you like fancy those up? Just add some garnish of like gold flakes.
I know. Well, we didn't end up having them because the rider was so ridiculous. They were like, this is a morning show. I don't know that we can, attend to all of those needs.
So you guys, like on the shows you've been on, there will be people you turn down because of reasons for that.
Well, I mean, I think that was a perfect storm of things. I think it was like, usually when there are tons of requests, there are often other requests that are like, well, we don't have that, or we can't do that. So it's kind of like an agree to disagree situation where we're like, we're probably not the right fit for each other.
Right.
But the truth is, in most cases, like with a show like the Today Show or Good Morning America, when you're offering them that platform, they'll be like, okay, we don't have to have jalapeno poppers. We'll take the value of that exposure to them is worth it.
Right.
Worth skipping the poppers.
To give up the finest. They're willing to give up the finest jalapeno poppers money can buy.
Yes, I'll use a normal toilet. You don't have to import a gold one, okay?
Right.
Now I'm hungry. I want jalapeno poppers.
Yeah.
Brian, we want to do, before we let you go, a little rapid fire game here. So we're going to give you like either or questions and you got to answer them quickly. And maybe we'll elaborate and ask why because, we're curious people. Okay.
Hey, can I ask you a favor? My nose is running. I just don't want to.
We'll pause.
Can we edit the part out where I say my nose is running?
Yes.
Oh, leave it in. Whatever. I'm real. Hold on. I just need a tissue. Okay, we are doing
that.
a tour.
It is like minus ridiculous here.
We're on a different temperature system than them.
Yeah.
That's why when he was like, it's freezing, it's 30. I was like, wait a second.
That's
it's
really hot.
60 in New York right now. I hope I wasn't too morbid with the stalker story. I really went out of the gate with blood and gore. Sorry.
We like that. That's why,
no.
yeah. We're called the Messy Podcast for a reason, Brian.
Okay, good. It's such a fun chat. You guys are so great. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
We won't ask for fancy jalapeno poppers.
If you ever
have us as a guest.
But I'll have them. I'll have them anyway.
Yeah.
I know how to make them now.
You know what I think you should work on is a show like The View, but hosted by like all gay guys. And then you can put me and you on it. And you can be the Whoopi.
It's so funny that is the second time that has come up in a very short period, Blue.
And like Jenna could be the Brian that comes on once in a while with some expert stories or something.
I'm better behind the scenes anyways.
Yeah, Jenna, you should absolutely because you always have to have the women. You always have to have the ladies.
Always.
Because it's more fun and that's the audience. They're going to watch it, truthfully. But one of the other things that I did with Joan there was a pilot for Joan Rivers and 4 gay guys to do like a gay view with Joan as the moderator. It was a bit weird because it's like, well, why is she the moderator? But she was the star. So we're like, okay, you know.
Yeah. I think it would work better with all gays. And you can have like different gays. You can have like the straight acting one, the bear. Me and you are kind of the same, but that's fine. We'll have 2 of the same, the best ones.
The log cabin Republican. You can have the log cabin Republican. Totally.
I think genius. I think it's a great idea. Okay. Here we go with the rapid fire. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Bum. Ariel or Jasmine?
Ariel.
Ooh, good answer. I would have said the same thing. Wait. Okay. Halloween or Christmas?
By the way, that's a really, really hard one. That's hard. But okay, moving on.
Okay, well, this is why I said we have to elaborate. So why did you choose Ariel?
Because it's such an icon. Although, you know what? No,
you can't switch.
I just did. Because you know what? I mean, she's like, I'll give up my voice for a man? Come on. That is unhealthy. Jasmine, by the way, Aladdin's gorgeous. But, is Prince. What's his name? Okay, Jasmine.
Okay. You're right.
Christmas.
She fought for what she wanted in the end.
She was an independent woman. And she also had a tiger.
Yeah.
Touché.
And like I love the Little Mermaid, but the message of it is like if you can't find the one you want, change for them. Change. That is terrible.
Yeah,
that is the worst.
She gave up not just her voice, her fins too.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, I'm gonna get a full body transplant for this man that I barely spoke to. Yeah.
Oh, Ursula, that Donald Trump looking sea witch. Don't you find they kind of look alike? They do a little bit. It's the eyes. I don't know. Well, speaking of sexy Aladdin, who was your first celebrity crush?
Erik Estrada from Chips.
Oh, my God.
What? That came out of left field.
And quickly.
Right.
Okay.
And, by the way, then, okay, I do have to have a follow-up story. This is, oh, God, I can't believe I'm telling the story. So then at the Today Show, he was a guest, and he brought his uniform, and it was a surreal moment because he was like changing it out of his uniform in front of me, and I'm like this, like I was like looking down the whole time. Like celebrities are fine with changing in front of you, by the way, don't you find? Because they change in front of people all the time.
Yeah,
they're always changing in front of people. I'm not talking full nudity. I'm talking like dressed down to the skivvies, and you're like, So anyway, so then I ended up meeting him, and he was a lovely guy.
I'm pretty sure.
I have his cell number, but I've never used it. What'd you say?
I'm pretty sure when you simulate sex scenes in front of a whole crew, you're okay with getting down to your undies.
Right, like they've been naked in front of everybody. Exactly.
That's awesome. Cake or pie?
Ooh,
you're from Pennsylvania.
I'm not good at rapid fire, it turns out. I think I'm going to go with pie.
I knew it.
I do pie, too.
Isn't pie big in Pennsylvania? I don't know why I think that.
I feel like both are equally popular, but I do love a fruit pie. I make a pie more than I make a cake.
Right. I'm with you on the pie. I like the fruit filling.
Cherry pie or raspberry. I like the red fillings.
Yeah. Lemon meringue pie is where it's at.
Oh, gross.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh, you guys
I
are
like
gross.
a pecan pie. I love pie. Yeah, pie.
Oh, pie, meat pie, anything. Okay. I just lost my last one. Do you have a rapid fire?
No.
Think of? Okay. You're like, no. What's your favorite movie? Comedy.
Don't have favorites. I don't have favorites anything. Isn't that weird? Is that weird?
Favorite color? Favorite color, Brian?
I'll take blue, I guess. The weird thing is I don't have a favorite anything. Because I'm like, I can't commit to that for that long. Like one movie?
I know.
No,
That's why I
but
tried
will
to
say-
narrow it down to comedy, because I'm the same way. People ask me, I need at least give me a genre.
Yeah, because then I'm like, do I have to commit to Bridesmaids forever? Like, I love Bridesmaids, and I love that airplane scene, but I can't say that's like. I mean, there's so many. I just like. That's why I think that's partly why I seem to try and do everything that comes my way. Like, I say yes to almost everything that comes my way because I'm like, well, this will be a fun experience, and so like I've never had I can't think of a favorite thing except. The one thing that I'm having a hard time with is I'm doing keto, and my favorite thing in the world really is pizza. Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
I love pizza, and so that's been a hard sacrifice to make. But I'm getting by. It's the little things, persevere.
I like your whole theory of saying yes to things because that's my New Year's resolution this year is to say yes more often.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it sounds like it might be fun, and it's not going to hurt anybody, do it. Like, why not? I love it. I think you will not regret it.
YOLO.
All right, I've got a few here too.
Okay, there.
Okay.
What's your favorite thing in your closet right now?
Oh.
I'm a big fan of sweaters. I will say I kind of am into Asics sneakers. Like it's so and I love all of my sweaters right now. I'm kind of into, and because I'm on keto, I'm fitting into my smaller pants. So the smaller pants, like I'm a little bit of a yo-yo. I just like them because I can fit into them more than that they're like particularly stylish.
Well, because they in turn make you feel good about yourself.
Right. Oh my God, I'm a new person.
Right.
And then but I never get rid of I have a 2 to 4 inch range of pants because it's like, oh, we're back on the pizza again.
I know.
Are you more of a savory than a sweet?
I like all junk food. I love chips.
Yeah.
I love candy. Like, I'm not gonna be selective. No, if it's delicious and sugary and salt, all of it. Bring it all on.
No favorites. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Describe yourself as a teenager in 3 words.
Oh God. That's scary.
Awkward, big head, and I mean physically, not emotionally. I was a bobblehead boy. Like you said 3 words. Awkward, big head. I was very, very skinny. I must have weighed 150. And I had the same size head that I have now, enormously. Like if I put on a hat, it almost always doesn't fit. Which is great for television.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think this one, with everyone you've met and I've met in your past and who you'll probably meet in your future and everyone you've gotten to work with, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received? And you can tell us from who it was from too.
Okay. I don't know if it's advice as much as an insight. So, but I use it I remind myself. So, when I first started working with Kathie Lee Gifford, who, by the way, is delightful and sweet and supportive and love and, she
seems like she would be.
Yeah, she is supportive. If I were to be in jail, I'd call Kathie Lee Gifford because 1, she'd answer the phone. 2, she'd bail me out. And 3, she'd say, what the hell were you thinking? 4, she'll forgive me. All of those things. You want somebody who's going to do all of those things. Not just forgive you, but also say, what the hell are you doing? All of those things. That's what you want, right? And when I first started working with her, I asked her, I said, wow, you must be so proud of all that you've accomplished. What a career she's had. And she goes, not proud. I am not proud. I am grateful. And so I was like, okay, sometimes people give you say something that's advice or insightful, and you almost feel dirty inside because you're like, oh, I'm terrible. Oh, she's right and I'm terrible. And I got an instant of oh shit, I said it wrong. I should have said great. But I was like, wait, no, that's the moment. That's what I need to take away from this. And I do try and operate from a position of gratitude no matter what I get. The reality is I have not made it, or I can. There's so much that I still want to do, and sometimes I think, oh, am I going to ever do this, or am I going to get on this show again, and why is this person not called? It is still a head game, but I think to myself, oh my gosh, if it were all to stop tomorrow, I have wonderful dogs, a wonderful person in my life, unlimited Coke Zero all the time, which is my addiction. And not because they said it to me, but I'm just grateful, and I remind myself the day I stop feeling grateful for the things that I have is the day I stop deserving, or not that I deserve them, but that maybe I don't deserve to have them. And I'm not saying it right, but that's the long answer to your short question. Sorry.
And you know why Kathy Lee is so pleasant? She gets to start her mornings with a glass of wine and her best friend. So,
yes.
I mean,
and
wouldn't you be pleasant?
her place in Nashville is unbelievable. Every house she owns, and she has a few, is gorgeous. She has a great sense of style, and she's a really good person. She cares about other people. Some people may be like, oh, she's a little bit too scripture-y, but I will say she's doing something right because she cares about people. And you don't have to read the Bible as much as she does or quote it as much as she does, but you will know that you have someone that cares about your best interests when you talk to her.
And that's
for
probably
sure.
a good reason she's lasted so long in this industry, in such a cutthroat industry with a lot of shady people. She is genuine.
Yeah, I think it is, and I think it's an endurance sport. And so whatever you do to survive your day-to-day challenges, because we all have them, and she's no exception. She's had a lot of challenges and setbacks and life obstacles, but we all have to have something to lean on, and she's got that, and it really works for her. Yeah.
I think that's a great message and a great place to end is gratitude. Every morning you wake up and when your feet hit the ground, thank you, because it could all end tomorrow and not just your career. So
right.
Great advice. One last very important rapid fire, Brian. Cut or uncut?
Oh, Jesse.
I'm just kidding. You don't have to. You don't have to.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying. I don't have a quick answer to that question. I was going to try and think of some other euphemism you were talking about. Wrapping paper.
It depends on the show you're editing, right? It depends on the show you're editing. So we're Brian Balthazar. Thank you for joining us. Did you have
No, I was just going to say thank you too.
Yeah,
such a pleasure. I love you guys. I love what you do. You're so fun and funny, and I mean, it's such a fun escape to listen to you guys, and you feel like you're in the room with you.
Oh, thank you, Brian.
I'm gonna cry.
Pitch us to NBC, please. We're available. Brian Balthazar, find him on social media at Brian Balthazar. He's a TV superstar and our new friend. We thank you so much for doing the show today.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Bye, Brian. Cheers.
Bye.